no. How many times do we need to go over this? I've told you once. I've told you twice. The answer is always 666. Oh, hang on, I'll be right back. Hey, good evening. Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste, and I owe you an apology. I failed to properly introduce myself last time, so here we are. It's a fine, sweltering evening. We're dripping sweat. Stink bugs are, well, stinking. Imagine that. Sort of a detour within a detour in celebration of the little scoundrels, I mean angels, of course, going back to school, and the end of construction season. Sort of. It seems as though construction season always peaks, even though they're supposedly done. I think they need a good project manager. I'll put that on my list. Be that as it may, this is a note to my neighbors. Neighbors, friends, Roman countrymen. We left flyers in your mailbox. We are giving discounts to you for the month of October. The idea is we are neighbors. Let us act as such and extend some common courtesies. We have done work for our neighbors in the past. We hope to do more work. Frankly, one of our big advantages is that we are your neighbor. I love knives, if you can't tell. Knives carry a very special meaning for me, regardless of context. I think knives speak to us very deeply. They speak of times past, of times in the very distant past. They speak to us of events yet to occur. With my love for knives, my 40 years of sharpening experience, the fact that I am your neighbor and you can feel free to stop down however you want to get in touch with me is fine. We won't have any problems. I guarantee that personally. I'll do whatever it takes to make you happy, and I hope that at least some of you share a love of knives that I do. And there's a couple aspects to that love that we need to be aware of. One is that many of us are raised as children to be afraid of knives and other sharp instruments. And for some reason there's a myth that says, careful with that knife, it's sharp. And I'll hear that after I freshly sharpen a knife. Careful with that knife, it's sharp now. A dull knife is actually very dangerous. And the reason a dull knife is dangerous is because you must exert a great deal of force for it to cut. And what you want to think about when you're using a knife is what happens when that force is suddenly no longer needed. It is suddenly redirected because the blade slips from the object it was cutting. those are the times when you get injured badly. If you have a sharp knife, you do not need to put a lot of effort, muscle, beef behind it to cut. You can be very gentle. It's almost as though the knife propels itself through whatever, and you're merely there to guide it. And this safety is very, very important. It's something that I think we should teach our children. We should certainly teach ourselves, our adults, if we haven't already. Also, any damage to the blade should be fixed. So any chips, if the tip is broken, all that should be taken care of. Any corrosion should be addressed. All the basic sort of good hygiene habits. I sharpen by hand mainly with the latest Wicked Edge device. The Wicked Edge has diamond stones. The diamond stones that I have go from approximately 100 grit to approximately 1,500 grit. Then I move to pastes, which go all the way up to 200,000 grit, typically which would be used in fine jewelry, craftsmanship like that for polishing. I don't recommend that most utility knives, that most knives you use in the kitchen, little bloodsucker, I love you guys. I don't recommend that a utility knife have a polished edge, because a polished edge has to be maintained. A polished edge doesn't cut any better. In fact, it probably cuts worse than a non-polished edge. And it's expensive. And it's expensive because it's so time consuming to do. There are times that I have put more hours than I care to log doing a polished edge. So for example, just to give you sort of my reference point, this is an Emerson Super Commander, and it's sort of my demonstration of what a highly polished edge can end up looking like. This is not done. I had it done at one point and then sort of wiped it out to try something new. I'm assuming that the camera does pick up, in fact, the glint of the edge. But a couple things, since this edge is very large in comparison to what is normally created. This knife takes 12 hours to polish and to get the clean, good looking jewelry like finish. And okay, 12 hours to polish, and I cut one bone and my work is gone. So not a practical sort of idea at all. It is pretty though. I can see myself in it. They tell me that vanity is a sin. I don't know why. Nonetheless, I don't recommend the utility knives be treated to a polished edge. If you have a collectible, if you have a folding knife that you paid oh, you know, I don't know what the cutoff is, but let's say you splurged and spent $12,000 on a Shirogorov from Russia. Great knife, you know, the steel's great, highly polished edge. It's basically man jewelry. For $12,000, what do you expect? Certainly, a polished edge makes as much sense as spending $12,000 on a knife. How's that for being diplomatic? In any event, the celebration of the end of summer, the beginning of fall, my favorite season. I hope you have had a tremendously good summer. I have. I hope your fall is better or equal in quality to your summer and to falls gone past. And I hope that you will trust me with your knives. I hope that you will let me sharpen your knives for you and show you what I can in fact do. There is a testimonial on our website from one of our neighbors that I just sharpened, I believe it was 8 knives for. It's very short, but it gets to the point, I think, very nicely. So, have a great evening. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great, great fall. Enjoy our beautiful neighborhood. Enjoy the national park. And let me know if there's anything I can do to help you. For now, bye.